So please do consider doing exactly this. Hello and welcome to another session. So in the previous video, ASCII animation in Rust, I made a simple ASCII animation from just composing a bunch of frames. And in the end, I mentioned that I wanted to create some basic state machine so that my character could switch animation like frames based on the state. So I decided to do exactly that, and I wrote some code already off camera, mainly because I pretty much rewrote what Mr. Bogdan from Let's Get Rusty channel had in his tutorial about state design pattern in Rust. I will add this as a reference in the description. So what I copy pasted pretty much is state pattern. So I defined a trait that some state I might have should have a function which has a boxed reference to itself, and it can perform action on some sort of a pawn. The reason I chose pawn, it's a thing, what they call in Unreal Engine, a thing that could navigate on the map. And after that, I'm defining states in which my pawn can be as structs. So standing state, and the struct should implement the trait things, and if the state has some logic that should give us a new state, then it should return the new state or return self, and the state technically doesn't change. So in this case, I decide to have my state be final in the state machine kind of thing. Then there's walking animation state, um, and there I have a simple rather logic that the state is initialized with a duration in seconds, and every cycle I have in my animation here is exactly 1 second. I don't want it to be way too fancy, but yeah, after some duration, I switch animation and I specify a new array of actual frames I have for the animation strings. And if I'm still not, if I still haven't exceeded the duration, then I just return the same state, and we kind of continue on that. So the pawn has a current frame. In the previous video, it was just a a C counter for frame iteration. So the current frames is going to be a index to these things. So this is a frame for looking left. This is exactly what is playing currently when I run the program. So left, standing, left, standing, standing, left. So these two are playing right now. And when I want to switch to to walking animation, I will just have indexes to these two vectors. And of course, my pawn has basic update, which just like in the example from Let's Get Rusty, I'm taking the state, I immediately set it to none internally, and if I have something, if I actually have a state in here, then I'm gonna write it mutably with a state that the current state that we have can return. Kind of weird structure, but I think it works. So what I haven't done yet in this function, so I have pawn update, but I'm still referencing um, the original array, this thing. What I want to have is I need to reference the frames from current frames. And in order to do that, so I'm just dirty hacking at the moment. Pawn current frames. So technically it should be something like this. So the pawn thing should technically know the frames that we want to show. We do that at the moment we create a pawn. So when we create a pawn, we initialize it with a state of walking, and the duration is going to be 3 seconds. And the frames we initialize with is 3 and 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is walking cycle. This is walking cycle, and when we update, the walking cycle is going to say, all right, we've exceeded the duration thing, so we switch back to frame 0 because we reset animation, and the next frames are going to be 1 and 2, and we're going to be standing, and the standing state is not actually doing anything special. So 1 and 2 is just standing saying subscribe, which was the original idea behind this all nonsense, that I want to have a simple character saying subscribe so that I don't constantly remind what I want to do. Like I don't want to push it to you verbally, but I want you to kind of consider subscribing, and please do. So technically, yeah, this, again, dirty hacking the pawn frame. This will go inside the implementation of update, but for now, just this. And technically, this should be it. I hope the character will appear with animation of walking, kind of sideways cat animation, and then it will just stand upright and switch between subscribe and no subscribe message. Oh shit. So it cannot do it. So I mistyped a thing. So on the line 74, there's something of a type I8, and it should be usize. Well, I still made an error. Crap. So this frame usize. Oh, okay. I was trying to be fancy, efficient with memory, but Again, I'm coming from JavaScript mainly, and there is just number, so it's basically you work with doubles. And all right, so it appears with this, this, this. Nice. Well, so the states work. Consider copy pasting code that the guy is showing on this tutorial. So I want to initialize walking with a larger wait time. Let's say, yeah, 5 seconds is quite enough to notice that the character is walking. So he's kind of walking. Subscribe. Isn't that nice? State machines work. So of course, for this case, it's overkill with this implementation, but it's a good thing to practice, especially this dynamic state. So apparently, a thing that just implements a trait, you cannot know the type of it during compilation, and at least it knows that it will have update function like trait method defined. So there will be something, a boxed reference to a state. This is quite profound. This is interesting. So big props to Let's Get Rusty Bogdan. Bogdan, as he refers to himself. So what I did want to do is this is quite a lot of logic for the update cycle, and like in a loop. So let's, yeah, since I created the struct for it, I am going to move this update to the actual update. So instead of a pawn, I will have self frame self. So this is just to keep animation in check. Handle animation frames. Handle states. All right. So this is mutable, so it should work fine. And yeah, maybe this is, yeah, let's check if it works. Still works. Beautiful. Oh, nice. What else can I move? Technically, I just want to, so it gets a frame like an index. And I'm getting a frame from general array. So I will move this to a method. So get current frame. And yeah, just copying will work, because this is way too much to read. This is too much to read. So V, and like separation of concerns, it's best if I just bam, and the pawn get current frame. All right, so now I need to define it, and bam, function get current frame returns usize, right? So I just all right, so I forget what it was, but messed up. All right, so it should be a self thing, right? Ah, fail fast again. Fail fast. At self. So at self. So self current frames self frame. So this should be it. So let's see if it compiles. Still compiles. So less code here, but the logic to get the current frame is here. All right. And although this is kind of simple thing to do here, but at least we are doing that. So please do consider doing exactly this. Okay, be my friend, and I guess I'll see you in some another session. I promised to do the DMN thing, but yeah, that will be a bit later. There's more logic in there. See ya and bye bye.